Good morning and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Game Master Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, and this is a video by request. I was asked by one of my commenters and potentially a subscriber, I believe he is a subscriber, to actually cover what is needed to prep for convention play. Now, I'm going to be taking this from the Game Master's perspective, but some of what I'm going to say for you to bring or for you to prepare for will also apply to players equally well. So now, I don't mean for any of this to come off as like a condescending. Some of this stuff is going to be like, yeah, no duh. And it's not meant to be that way. It's just, there are certain items that, you should really bring with you, whether you're a player or a game master. And so I'm going to mention them just so it, doesn't go without being said. So without further ado, I am going to switch to full screen here, and I am going to start off with, whether you're a player or a game master, bring a notepad, all right? And I actually have to go out and pick up another pack of graph paper in a book form as well. So I will go with both. Whether I'm a game master or a player, I find that both are really important to have. The graph paper, just in case I want to graph something out. The graph paper can also be a notepad, so that is, I think, more important to have than just a notepad. But if you're a game master, you want to hand out a piece of graph paper to whomever the party is saying that they're going to do the mapping for the group, or just give one to every player, and you'll be fine with that. So definitely something to write on, obviously something to write with. So I would bring 2 or 3 very dependable pens with you, and and a mechanical. I love mechanical pencils, so mechanical pencils, because you're not going to lug around a pencil sharpener. So a couple of mechanical pencils along with you, and then of course a dice bag of some sort. So my next gaming convention that I'm going to, where I will be running games, is Rising Phoenix Game Con in Massachusetts. That is in April. Really looking forward to it, and all of the materials I'm going to show you are materials that I'm actually going to be using at that convention. I'm going to go step by step through and talk about what I'm actually using specifically for that game. So those are the bare necessities. Let's say whether you're a game master or a player. I'd certainly say as a player, because you need the actual game content for being a game master, and I'm going to go through that as well. Now, because I have this channel, and and this channel, when I go to a game convention, whether I'm a player or a game master, I'm representing this channel. This is my contribution to the hobby. And so I go with my business cards. So I have these, little business cards for Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. And I just, I give everybody at my table, whether I'm a player or a GM, my business card. And it just makes them aware of the channel. I encourage them to stop in and to, and to follow along and everything. Now, these are my older cards, so they still have my old sacked Twitter account. And so when I'm finished running through all of these, then I will make new ones with the new account. So back to the dice bag. You're going to need at least 2 sets of regular dice, which I have here. And so I like to have them all one color. That way I know at my table, these are my particular dice. Then if you are running or potentially playing in any kind of a specialty game, you are going to need, the Sochi dice, right? So these are the DCC dice. I have two. I have one huge set, like 14 different dice in it, and then the other one were just the 7 specialty dice. So I have two colors, orange and black, and so I bring those as well. And then finally, I am running at this next convention Conan 2D20 system, and so I need the specialty dice for that system as well, which I have here. I really wish I had more sets of these, at least a second backup set, because if I ever lose them, then I'm kind of screwed. And they're, since Modiphius no longer has that license, you can't find the dice anywhere. And I've certainly looked. I've certainly gone to like eBay and such, just trying to see if anybody is offloading their dice. So eventually it'll come. I'll find them someplace and replenish my supply of those dice. Now, if you are using a system, and I'll get to this when I'm going to Blade Runner, if you're using a system that uses specialty dice or specialty rolls, I'm going to show you something that really brings that, makes that easier for the players at your table to deal with. So the first game that I'm going to switch views here. So the first game that I am running, you can see these are the 6 games that I'm running. I'm going to probably drop my Sunday game. I'm going to probably drop the Acts 2 game, because I don't think I'm going to have the content for it. Number 1, and number 2, I need some more flexibility in my schedule. So that's a Sunday morning game, and I want to leave some flexibility so I can move these things around in case there's a game I really want to play in rather than run. So Thursday night at 7 p.m. I am running Shards of Ymir. That is my own adventure that I wrote back in like 2017. It's for the Conan 2D20, and so these are the materials I'm bringing with me. So this is the packet that came with the Kickstarter, and it's the Game Master Toolkit. And then here is the Game Master's shield. Even though I roll in public for almost everything, the shield is good to have. It's also a good way to display at your table what you're actually running, so that passers-by will say, hey, look, he's running Conan 2D20. I've never seen that game run before, and they'll sit and they'll watch and they'll see what's going on. So that's really important. Another thing that I have to actually create for running Conan, you're obviously going to also bring the rule book. Another thing that you want to do at a convention, especially if you're running a game system that has different types of dice rolls or different ways to read the regular dice like 2D20 does do, you want to print out a card that has that described, like what the effects are of certain rolls, and you give that out to each of your players. And I've done that with Blade Runner. I still have to do that with Conan 2D20, but you'll see it when I get to Blade Runner and talk about that. So that's the first game that I'm running, and you've seen the specialty dice, you've seen the game screen for advertising what I'm running, and the core rule book. And I will give the players pre-generated character sheets. Always make twice as many. That will give your players at the table some choice. If you have 5 players and you're handing them 5 character sheets, they virtually have no choice, or the last person picking has no choice. I like to print out 10 or create 10 character sheets and hand them out there and let them have some choice. The second game I am running, and I'll go back to my schedule here. So that's Thursday night. Friday morning, I am looking for Friday morning at 8 a.m. I am running Whiskey Creek Runs Red. So this is for Gangbusters BX. And again, it is my own adventure that I have written, and you can actually find that on TTRPG. It's been there for quite some time, and I had a recent interview on Tabletop Tap Room with Tom, and Tom went over, with me and talked about the game system, because he took a look at it, and it's been a very, very successful game for me running at conventions. It's always, everyone's really enjoyed it. And so here's the rule book. This is all that you need, right? So this is written by Mark Hunt, and highly recommend it. He's working on the advanced version of it. I'm not sure if that's going to come out before the convention. If it does, I will grab a hold of that and immediately start converting my adventure over to that, or at least incorporating portions of it. But I go to the table when running this with a packet like this for every single player. And once we are done, they get a copy of the adventure, and they get my business card as well, and they can then share it, run it themselves, or whatever, going beyond the convention itself. So I found that, again, really popular with the players that I have run it. I've run this about 6 times now at conventions, and it goes over really, really well. So again, being prepared to run a game means doing a lot of those extra steps to bring to the table, to give your players something physical in hand that they can walk away with. I do the same thing. I give them, I make up 10 pre-gens, or time permitting, because this particular adventure only takes about 3 hours, and a lot of conventions have like a 4-hour time slot, and allowing for the players to create their own character right then and there is something that usually only takes about 20 minutes or so. And so that's another good use of the time, and then you can go rolling right into playing the characters. So that's my second game that I'm running at the convention. My third, which is also on Saturday, so I'm looking for Saturday at 1 p.m. and that is Blade Runner. All right, so I am going to switch over and show you Blade Runner. I got these actually out of order. So I am going to switch over. So I just bring this starter set, and I found, again, very successful when I ran this at last year's Rising Phoenix Con. And what I did with this here is, again, just bringing the box set, and this has a lot of handouts for the players, so it's very tactile. They really enjoyed that aspect of it. It has the pre-generated characters and the suggestion that certain characters are certainly used. So you would emphasize, someone really should take this particular character. But what I did was I created this chart for the players, because there are specialty dice, right? Or there's specialty rolls. And so every single player gets this, And basically, it's like when you're rolling a d6, a 1, and a 6 are special rolls, right? A 1 is always a failure on every die, and then a 6 or sometimes more, depending on the dice size, is an automatic success. So you can see here on a d6, a 1 is an automatic failure, and on a 6, it's an automatic success. When you go to a d10, for example, a 1 is always a failure, a 6, 7, 8, and 9 is a success, and a 10 is a double success. And then when we use the d12, a 1 is a failure, 6 through 10 are 6 through 9 are successes, and then a 10, 11, and 12 are double successes. So this really helps the players when they're making their dice rolls to know whether or not they have a success or a double success, depending on the type of die that they roll. I found it really helped them out, and again, it worked wonderfully well with it. So the last game that I'm running, that I have here now, let's get back to the screen here. So that was my Saturday. You can see I'm leaving all of my evenings open because I'm looking to play in some games. And so that's my Saturday 1 p.m. game. I would go from like 1 to, I believe, 5, and then have dinner. And then the evening games start at 7. So, you know, I'm still looking to do like 12 hours a day of gaming. You know, 4 each day of running games, and another, 8 hours of running games, and then 4 hours of playing. So very, very heavy schedule. So now I'm moving to Sunday. I missed a Saturday, didn't I? I missed a game here. Oh, my Friday 1 p.m. game. I didn't mention that. So my Friday 1 p.m. game, I am running an adventure that I've written for Shadow Dark. Now I am hoping to have the physical copies of Shadow Dark by April. They're probably coming either this month or next month, but I'm really, really hoping to have Shadow Dark by then. That way, I'm going to certainly run that. I already have the adventure like 90% written, and just waiting for the books. I don't like to create adventures off of just PDFs. I feel that I lose something when I'm creating that way. So I like to have the books in hand to do it. And so that was the one game I skipped over. So the last game that I am running is, and I'll stay in this view here, is an adventure I wrote myself, and this is based on Robert E. Howard's Horror on the Mound. I am running it through using Weird Frontiers, which is a DCC-based game system. This is so much fun. I played it for the first time at Rising Phoenix Game Con last year. I ran it for the first time at ShireCon this past October, and really looking forward to run it again. And again, I learned from previous years of both playing and running games that it's best to come prepared with as many handouts for the players as possible. So we did character generation at the table, and it worked really well, but I limited what character classes my players could use. So I tried to avoid any like heavy spellcasters, because to be honest with you, I didn't want to lug the second heavy tome of, I should say tome, the second heavy book that comes with, comes with this here. It's another 400, 500 page book just on spells. So I wanted to limit that experience. And that's another thing that you have to remember when you're prepping games for running at conventions, is that it is, I'm going to say it's almost a necessity to tweak the game system and to tailor the experience that you're looking to have at the table for convention play. Convention play is very, very different than your home game. It's very different even than your at the local gaming shop type of game, because you can always go back to the local gaming shop the next week and continue running. You don't have that luxury at the convention, and you're going to have to be ready to improvise a number of things and really think about the game system, and think about the fact that when you're running something at a convention, you are showcasing the game that you're running. And so you want to make sure that there are elements of the best parts of that game system that the players are interacting with. So with like Weird Frontiers, I made sure that I had decks of playing cards, right? So the poker cards, every time you fire a weapon in this game, the player has to pull a poker card, and that will alter the effects of having taken a shot, right? So there's it adds that random element. It's very tactical too, so the players really like to have, this along with the specialty dice that comes into play as well. And it all works to generate that unique feel that Dungeon Crawl Classics does, whether it's pure Dungeon Crawl Classics fantasy, Mutant Crawl Classics, or Weird Frontiers. They all have that same element that you want the players to actually experience. And so I find it's really important for you to emphasize those particular unique aspects of any game system that you're running. So you want to make sure that you're planning for your game session that it will last up to 4 hours. If you're running short on time, you have to edit what you're looking to do. You have to move them along. You want to make sure that you have closure on the game session. You don't want to leave it where it's the adventure is incomplete, and so sometimes you have to edit things out. Now, some people say, "Oh, that's very railroady." At a convention, you're going to have to move the players along, and so again, it's a different kind of mindset that you have to have. And for players, and remember I said there's going to be some crossover between whether you're a game master or a player. Players have to understand that as well. Players have to understand that the GM is going to have to tweak things in order for this to fit within that very time-constrained block that they have to run this game adventure. So be understanding of that, the fact that there is a time constraint, and for the game master, be prepared to improvise. Be prepared to go there and to tell the players right up front, I'm only going to have you play or have available to play certain character classes, and this is just for the purposes of convention play. And just roll with it like that. So now some other things, and this is just personal things that, and I can come out of here and come back over here. So some of my other game mastery tips, and this is just my own OSR perspective, an independent game perspective. Run different types of games when you're going to be running at a convention. And this is just for your own experience and growth of experience. Run different genres, run different game systems, run game systems that players might not have seen before. And again, like I mentioned with the Conan 2D20, have some kind of a display at your table so that passersby can see, hey, he's running something I've never seen before. And you will have onlookers. I mean, when I was running Blade Runner, I had people, standing around watching the game session. I had 3 players. I had room for 5, and I even offered, for people, if you want to join in, you're welcome to, but they were just watching the game as it was going. For Weird Frontiers, same thing. I had 2 young kids come up. They asked if they could sit down and play. We welcomed them, even though I had a full table at that time. We could go from 6 to 8, no problem. And they ultimately chose not to play, and then just observe. And then later on, they just, I guess they felt uncomfortable or whatever, just sitting there. So they got up eventually and left. But when you're displaying a game system that is, that is different than what many people have seen, you're going to attract attention to your table, and they're going to want to see what's going on with it. So I highly recommend that you're running different types of games at your conventions, and that not just different game systems, but different genres as well, because whether it's sci-fi or fantasy or horror, you're going to have a very different feel for running that type of a game, and you'll attract different types of players as well, which is always a big benefit too. You'll have that much more enjoyment with it. So again, preparing for a play. There's actually quite a bit that you have to do ahead of time before you get there, and bringing the rule books is one thing. Having your dice, having your notebooks, and all that stuff is one thing, but doing some of those extra prep things, making it easy for the players to access the gameplay by making some of those supplements and player handouts and everything, making it more interesting for the players by giving them those handouts. I think it's really important, and it's going to make your experience much more enjoyable by doing so. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I apologize for the sound of the garage if you're hearing that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and hit the alarm button so that you're getting more, the alarm bell, so that you're getting more notice when new videos are coming up. And I look forward to seeing you at a gaming screen, on a gaming screen sometime soon, or at a convention. As I said, I'm going to Rising Phoenix Game Con in April. I'm sure that those games, they're still currently pending scheduling. So as soon as they are open for people to sign up for, I am going to get out there, and I will take you all off on the conventions open for players to select their games. And there's one game I didn't mention, so that the Axe 2 game, I am most likely going to drop that to give me some flexibility for me to play in some games, especially any specialty games, or I'll call them like celebrity GMs. Like last year I played in Alan Hammock's Ghost Tower of Inverness, which I mean, the man wrote the adventure, so it was like to play in his game. A truly, impressive experience. To meet him, play through his own game, and his own module that he wrote, and fantastic experience. So without further belaboring the point, I am going to move on. Thank you for joining, and as always, keep on playing out there. Share your experiences as well. So if you want to come in the comments section on this video and talk about your own convention experiences, either as a player or as a game master, please feel free to jump there in the comments and let me know your thoughts or some of your tips and ideas that have worked as well. So you all have a great day. Take care.